Salah a must-have in FPL? Well, with a flawless record for Liverpool and 2 free transfers, I'm certainly going to be looking at tripling up over the international break. I'm replying to all comments on this video. Help me get it to 1,000 likes and subscribe if you don't already. Let's get into it. Starting off with how my team got on in game week 3 then, and given that only one team, Liverpool, kept a clean sheet in game week 3, not too bad a showing from the defence. Obviously got the clean sheet from Trent, an early sub for him once again. I got an assist from Robinson, his second assist in as many weeks since coming into my team, and Nick Pope with save points once again, giving him a respectable 4 without a clean sheet. Unlucky with Dan Burn wiping it out, and Vardiol again an own goal, wiped out his clean sheet. Moving into the attack, and patience really paid off. Eze got himself on the score sheet. Finally, we got another attacking return from Saka, who is yet to blank. Diogo Jota and Smith Rowe did disappoint though, as did Muniz in my forward line, but again, patience prevailed with Alexander Isak, who finally got himself on the score sheet. And once more, I captained my highest scoring player. Another hat-trick from Erling Haaland. He looks absolutely unstoppable now. So I'm in a really good place as things stand. It looks like 82 points for game week 3, and I'm comfortably in the top 1 million overall. Cannot complain about that. Always feels good to go into the international break on a high. It was a good week, not a spectacular week. I've seen some really high scores elsewhere, but with the 2 free transfers and a bit of money in the bank as well, I've got plenty of flexibility heading into this international break. So remember, it's going to be almost 2 weeks until these Premier League sides play again. Lots of players going off on international duty, so kind of need to be a little bit patient if you can with moves. It could be a window to wildcard for some. If you are going to be priced out of your moves though, you may need to move early and hope for the best, knowing that you've got a wildcard in the back pocket to bail you out if everything goes pear-shaped. Looking at my own squad then, there's 3 key players that I'm looking to move on, starting off with Fulham's Rodrigo Muniz. Obviously, I'm tripled up on Fulham, and while Robinson and Smith Rowe have been delivering, Muniz hasn't been quite as good as I'd have hoped. Just the one big chance on goal over the opening 3 game weeks, and while the fixtures remain good for Fulham, not good enough to have 3 players in my side. So ideally, I'll be looking to move him on this week. Another player that I could regrettably move on this week is Saka, basically because he's the cash cow in the squad, and while he's performing very well, the next 2 fixtures couldn't be worse. They've got Spurs away, followed by City away, so I definitely think if I go without the wild card this week, there's an opportunity to sell those Arsenal assets in game week 4, potentially bring them back in on a wild card in game week 6 with those 2 fixtures, but it would be a regret to sell. The other potential cash cow in my squad is Vardiol in the defence. Now, he did limp off at the end of the game with West Ham on Saturday night. I haven't heard any news on whether he is injured or whether it was just a knock, so that's something to keep an eye on. But Manchester City, while they haven't been conceding lots of chances on their goal, we are seeing this sloppy defending and an inevitable clean sheet wipeout with a single goal. We've also seen that Vardiol has been deeper while Lewis has been starting on the opposite flank. So he's not the same player that we saw at the end of last season. So I think there is an opportunity to sell Vardiol now. In terms of the replacements then, and the motivation is Salah, who's just been sensational at the start of this season. There was hope from me that potentially owning the likes of Jota and Trent could cover Salah, but it's just not turned out that way. 3 double-digit hauls from Salah to start the season, and you look at the fixtures, particularly in game week 5, where Haaland entertains Arsenal. You've got Salah with Bournemouth at home, which looks like a mouth-watering fixture. The next 5 look good for Liverpool, to be fair. So I really want to be tripled up. I did have a look at a potential wildcard, actually. It's very difficult to get Salah in along with the 2 fullbacks, Trent and Robertson. But there is an opportunity for me to get Salah in now, and I think that's the way to go. So he could be coming in. If he comes in, it's going to have to be for Saka, which is a regret. Now, I can just get there if I downgrade Vardiol, and there's a couple of places I could go. I could replace him with the City fullback Rico Lewis. He's had 2 big chances on goal already this season, looking really advanced. He's got an assist. The only trouble is with Lewis is if Kyle Walker starts at some point, then Vardiol will be the advanced one. Lewis will be on the bench and I'll have regret. Remember, I've already got Barco on my bench, who is an absolute dead weight in my squad. So if I get Lewis, who's a risky pick, I could find myself getting into trouble quite soon. Obviously, I've still got the wild card, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. And I have got Harwood Bellis as well, but it is a risk. There's plenty of upside to it, but there is risk there. So that's one that I'm thinking about. I'm also looking at Brighton's Lewis Dunk, who again I think could be a great option. Obviously Brighton's fixtures improve from now. They're a team that I really want to be invested in. They've not been conceding goals for fun so far this season. They look like they could be solid defensively, certainly looking at the fixtures that they've got coming up, and Dunk's got that little bit of attacking threat as well. So the safe pick would be Dunk. The risky pick would be Lewis. Now, I have got funds in the bank as things stand, but I've only got about 0.3 million to play with. So Vardiol dropping and rises for the likes of Salah and Lewis or Dunk could price me out of this move. So it is something that I'm going to have to keep an eye on. If I pull the trigger, I will, of course, let you know. But the other thing that I need to think about is if I make those 2 moves, that also means holding on to Muniz, and I'm not sure about that. I could swap Muniz to João Pedro, who's another player that I'm considering. Again, if I get priced out of moves, I could take a -4 and get João Pedro in as well. That'd get me to double Brighton if I went with Dunk. So that's one route that I'm looking at. I'm just a little bit concerned about the strength and depth in Brighton's attack. Even though João Pedro looks like a 90-minute man and he's on penalties, that's something that could change. So I am regretting that I didn't go João Pedro over Muniz in the first place. It is a route I could take. The other thing I have to think about is it's really just hard to justify taking a hit at this stage in the season when you've got that wild card in the back pocket and it allows you to accumulate transfers. So while I've not completely ruled out the wild card, I'd rather save it until game week 6. That's looking like the better point to play, especially given that I'm fairly happy with my team right now. But I am going to have to probably move early on these transfers rather than making them at the end of the international break, which could mean that inevitably the wild card comes into play. Now, later in the week, I will be making a wildcard draft and sharing it with you. So hit that notify button and replying to all comments on this one. Let's get it to 1,000 likes. Subscribe if you don't already. Help me over the line to 35,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching.